Okay. How the fuck do I start this? I don't know. I guess it started if I decide that it has, and so here we are. Welcome to this video, my channel. A bit of a change of scenery. We're here with my Criterion collection, and I just wanted to do something a bit off the cuff, which is why the lighting isn't the best. It's very dark on this side because there isn't the room in my room to have my lights fully in this side. I don't need to be explaining this to you. This is my Criterion collection. You can't see all of it, and I'm not going to intend to show you all of it. This is just a little bit of a casual chat. I have a nice glass here of ginger beer. See if we can get some nice focus on that with my face out of the equation. There we go. My Blade Runner 2049 whiskey glass. So grab a drink yourself if you want, and let's just talk about some films. So again, the framing isn't perfect on this, but I kind of just wanted to sift through a couple of titles, have a chat about them. I plan nothing. But that's kind of the thing that I feel like I should take more advantage of, which is my huge collection. I mean, if you could just see, if only you could see what I've seen with these eyes. The mess in this room, but also the exhaustive amount of cinema. There's just so much to talk about. And every Blu-ray, every film has a story, whether I've seen it or I haven't. Case in point, again, I haven't planned anything. Let's just pull one out at complete random and see what we got here. Oh, here we go. Okay, Hidden Fortress. Akira Kurosawa. So this is the film that many point to as, you know, the original Star Wars. This is, if you want to see like Star Wars before Star Wars was Star Wars, then you watch The Hidden Fortress. Not quite the case. There are elements of it that very much George Lucas used for kind of narrative purposes with Star Wars, but even there's bits in there that I kind of see that he used in The Phantom Menace, with the princess kind of infiltrating into kind of peasant life, so to speak. Great film though. I mean, I think it's the first time Kurosawa went widescreen, and the results are just stunning. You know, just the way he composes images in his films. But it's it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's kind of grand in kind of maybe not scale, because I mean in some senses it's quite a small story. The Hidden Fortress is not quite as grand as you might expect, but the way that it's shown, I think visually it's just beautiful. I think the shot of her looking out over the scenery is just such a beautiful one. But it's a very memorable Kurosawa film. Not my favorite, but it's certainly up there. So that's one. Just again, just randomly pulling something off the shelf when I have something to say about it at the drop of a hat. I was hoping I could find one that's a film I haven't seen before. So, and I should note that I don't have these in much of an order. What do we have here? The Squid and the Whale. Noah Baumbach. I have seen this one. I don't have a huge amount to say about it. There's a discussion about Philistines in it with Jeff Daniels and his son, which is kind of funny. I enjoyed the film quite a bit. Owen Klein, Kevin Kline, and Phoebe Cates' son has quite the sequence in a library, which is something. All right, well, let me just look at one I have that I haven't seen. House, okay. Nobuhiko Obayashi. So I have this film twice because it's also in the Eureka Masters of Cinema collection. And I've heard that it's bonkers, 1977, but I have not seen it. So I can't really comment on it. I just know that it's kind of crazy, kind of bonkers. Bit psychedelic, perhaps? Yeah, not too sure. But I have an interest in East Asian cinema. A love, a passion for. And it started with Japanese cinema, so I'm always kind of interested to see elements of Japanese cinema that maybe I haven't seen before. And this kind of style of kind of off-the-wall stuff isn't an area I've explored that much. So that's kind of why I wanted that initially, to check it out. But I haven't as of yet. even though, as I say, I have it twice because it's in the MOC collection. But yeah, there's just so much to talk about, and I feel like I don't do enough of that. I feel like I spend too much time on kind of, I'll spend weeks on a review of a Blu-ray of a film that no one's seen, and it kind of makes a lot of my videos inaccessible to a lot of people who watch my channel. So maybe I should try to do more stuff like this, where I don't worry too much about how bad my skin looks or how messy my hair is, which I worry about too much, which is very weird. I try not to be a superficial kind of person, but yeah, it just happens. And now I'm just starting to go down this whole track in my mind of like the whole artifice of YouTube in general and why I do it and why it's kind of partly a performance because I'm not like this in real life. Like, well, I am and I'm not, right? We've talked about this before, but like, just the act of turning on a camera and talking to the camera is in and of itself some kind of performance. Is it more of the true version of myself? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I feel like it I don't know. I feel like this is who I would like to be. If that makes any kind of sense. Because it's just different. I'm much more placid in real life. And it's actually kind of funny. I've been recognized twice in work. I think once was last year and then the year before that. I work in a very small place, in a small town, in Wales. And the fact I've been recognized there twice is very, very weird. I think I've been recognized from YouTube 4 times in my life by strangers. One was at a film convention, totally understandable. Another one was at a cinema, again, totally understandable. But then the other two being in my specific place of work was very weird. And almost like, oh God. Like, it just like, it was fine in the moment. It was just pleasant exchange. Like, I've seen your videos before. Oh, nice, cool. And then after, I was like, should I have said more? Struck up a conversation? And then afterwards, it just felt like, God, that's really weird that someone recognized me. Anyway, don't know why I went to all that. So Criterion, it isn't a label that I collect obsessively, and I can actually remember. Here we go. The first time I saw a Criterion DVD in the early 2000s, and it was Rushmore, so the DVD version. And I looked it up, and I can still vividly see the website I kind of looked it up on, and what it's kind of, I don't know, it's just old ancient history now, but I remember when I first heard about this film and this edition from a friend of mine who I'd made online in the early 2000s. And I think about him fairly regularly because whenever his cunt of a brother pops up on the internet, I'm like, oh God. And so he raved to me in the early 2000s. We were friends through kind of like amateur filmmaking online, which kind of spiraled out of the Star Wars, what was it, the Force.net fan film forum community, which then also spiraled into just general filmmaking, and there'd be like 48 hour like short film competitions. They'll give you a prompt, and then over the weekend you make a film, and you have a certain thing and a certain line or an item or something. And he had kind of posted some stuff on there, and we got chatting and stuff on, like, I think it was MSN. His brother, by the way, who's fairly infamous at this point in time online, is Stephen Crowder. Yeah, just a prick. You know? And I always thought of him back in the day as just like, oh, he's my online friend's like less talented brother who isn't very funny. But I mean, he's made a grift. I mean, a living, these days. So anyway, but so my friend Jordan, he was raving about Wes Anderson's films, and particularly Rushmore. He's like, dude, you got to see Rushmore. And I was like, oh, what kind of DVD? Because I was really into DVDs at that point in time, early 2000s. And the one that had all the extras was the Criterion DVD in America. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh, I can't get that. And, I briefly kind of considered asking my dad to buy it for me with his credit card. And I just thought he'd balk at the idea of me wanting to import a DVD from America. But eventually, many years later, I was gifted this by another online friend through YouTube. The great Robbie Webster, who sent this to me in a package. I think in like the first year of my channel, and I was so blown away because it was kind of like a full circle moment of me starting to collect like Blu-rays and stuff, and then going back to that initial salivating over the Rushmore, DVD on this website. And it is, I would say, after I saw the film eventually, it became one of my favorite films of all time. She was my Rushmore Max. I know she was mine too. Yeah. Oh man, I need to revisit this. It's been quite a few many years since I've quite a few many years. That's a sentence. But all the extras on this, and just the kind of the love affair between Criterion and Wes Anderson's films is one that I very much approve of, and I love all the details that you get on all of his releases. I think I have all of them now. Bart Rocket, Rushmore, Tenenbaums, Life Aquatic, Budapest, Moonrise, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Have they done Isle of Dogs yet? I can't remember. Certainly, he's made quite a few films in the past few years. I still need to see his the shorts he did on Netflix, the Roald Dahl ones. But I really enjoy. I love all of his films really, but some are more favorable than others. But yeah, no, I think actually maybe the Grand Budapest might be the most recent one of his films. It seems like there's always like a license that has to expire at some certain point before Criterion get their hands. I feel like they did Isle of Dogs. Maybe they haven't. I don't know. Yeah, because I wouldn't have rushed out to get it because I have that on Blu-ray somewhere. It's quite a nice edition. Anyway, let's talk about something else. What do we have? Kid Brother. One of my absolute favorite silent films. Harold Lloyd. Very special film to me, actually. It's in the book, 1,000 Movies You Must See Before You Die. And I watched it one day and I just fucking loved this film. And so I think it was the next day, maybe not, but it was pretty soon afterwards. I got Connie to watch it. And then we did a review of it. It's up on the channel, obviously. I love that review, and I love sharing that film with her, and I love sharing this film with other people because I did it again a few years ago with my nan. So me, Connie, and my nan watched this for 24 Hour Movie Marathon 9, and it was a great experience showing my nan a silent film, and we did a little review and stuff. She passed away a few months ago, so that'll be something nice to look back on once I kind of finish that video eventually. And that was right before COVID kind of shut the world down. And it was interesting because that year's Marathon 9, Generations, the concept of it for me was bringing people together. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's like 6 guests joined us for the marathon for different films. And it was like my younger siblings, my grandmother, and then my friends of my generation. So it was kind of like, that kind of idea, and just this idea of watching films together with people, and then a few weeks later it was like everyone was separated and like that was gone, so sharing movies with people kind of became a thing of the past for a while. Yeah, I got quite a few Kurosawas here. I have all like and again, the ordering of my collection, I used to do like chronological. I may do that again. But honestly, most of my collection is in such a state. My MOC collection is nicely ordered, but the Criterions I'd never do in spine number order because I have never had any realistic ambition to collect all of them because there's just too many of them. It would just be impossible, I'm no Daisuke Beppu, another great friend of the channel. Who I need to speak to. I haven't spoken to him quite a while, Daisuke, but he's trucking along. Always see videos in my feed, and I rarely watch them because I don't have the time. It was always nice to see. He's just really championing Criterion in a way that I never could. But I love the label. I love the presentation. I love the presentation. Like, so here's an interesting one. There'll be a review of this going up soon. I filmed it. Swing Time, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. I loved this film. I've already filmed my review of it. But this, watching it and stuff and being completely, just enamored with everything that was going on, and then suddenly you get the minstrel sequence and it just feels so uncomfortable. And there's a great extra on here, and I'm going to kind of credit the woman here. What was her name? Uh, Mia Mask. New interview with film scholar Mia Mask on the Bojangles of Harlem number. It's a short featurette, but she goes into, and and she's black, so I feel like that is like, I don't want to say helpful, but it is the right thing to do to get a perspective from someone who is black to talk about that and to, I mean, kind of objectively look at it, but also kind of go into the history of minstrel performing. And she really educated me on some of that stuff and how truly abhorrent it is, and how to view it within the context of the film itself. And you know, it didn't feel like there was finger pointing going on, but there was a lot of education going on in that short featurette that was so helpful to me in coming some way to reconciling that sequence. I still think it kind of tarnishes a great film, but that's one thing. That's one little tiny element of what these kind of packages can kind of bring to a film. Is kind of the context of when it was made, and also the context of looking back on something and maybe re-evaluating certain elements of it. So you can have obviously critics or other filmmakers looking back on a film that came out many, many, many years ago. You can have something that's more contemporary. And I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, I know, because anyone who's watching this is obviously a film collector or a film fan of some sort, and you kind of agree with all this anyway. But yeah, that's kind of what, for me, the Criterion Collection was kind of the first label, so to speak, that was doing stuff to that degree with such a wide kind of varied selection of like world cinema and things like that. It wasn't just like your popular stuff. I think that's where the DVD format in the mainstream really took off the most, in terms of capturing the imagination of collectors like people like me and you, with mainstream films and like behind the scenes extras on those. I think of some of those big releases like the Alien box set or like the Lord of the Rings extended editions and things. So to get stuff like that for films that aren't these big blockbuster movies was appealing to me. And as I've grown older and gotten into these films more and more, it's great to kind of get stuff like that. So on the shelf below these two, I have all the digipacks and kind of box sets and stuff on the bottom shelf, because this thing is a freestanding shelf. Right in the very bottom, I have the big ones. So the Ingmar Bergman box set, the Agnes Varda box set, Zatoichi and stuff. I'm not going to drag all that stuff out, obviously, but a film like Seven Samurai, the greatest film ever made, in my humble opinion, you get so much insight from all the extras that are kind of presented on this great release. That's the stuff I really, really love. And obviously getting a great transfer and stuff and good picture quality is also a big plus, especially in the realm of high definition and now 4K. So I think this is my first and only Criterion 4K. It's the Raging Bull release. So I got this for Christmas. I am not a big fan of Raging Bull. I've seen it once, and it just underwhelmed. I remember that some of the imagery was quite beautiful, some of the performances very intense, but by the end of it, I was like, is that the classic Raging Bull? So I'm real, and this was like over 10 years ago. So I'm really intrigued to go back to it, especially with the 4K release, and see if I was wrong, and I probably was. So they're really ramping up their 4K releases now, which is great to see. But nothing I can keep up with those kind of prices. Is just one of those things that you got to kind of, the battles you pick and choose as a collector. How much do I spend on this? Hunting for good deals and things like that. I often think like, man, it'd be great to just like be a millionaire and just buy any Blu-ray you wanted. And I just think like, but then it wouldn't be as fun. It's all about kind of like finding good deals or having a certain amount to spend. And it's like, okay, I can get that one that I really want or that one that I really want. Which one do I really want the most? And kind of weighing up like the transfer or like, the extras. Does that have more extras, or is the packaging fancier? And that's obviously like the lower level concern is like the packaging, but it's certainly also part of it because, hey, we're collectors, right? Not that every collector has to be bound to interesting packaging, but I certainly lean towards that. I like having a nice kind of special, like a slipcover or something, and for example here, not a Criterion, but a nice release of a great film that is actually in the Criterion collection, My Life as a Courgette, which was written by Celine Sciamma. Who directed this one? I was going to say, not that it matters. Of course it matters. Claude Barras. A film by. Does it say directed by? I don't know. Brilliant film, stop motion animation, about an hour, 67 minutes. This is included on the oh, I feel like I could taste like a bundle of dust go down my throat then. I need to dust the collection more. I believe that's included in the Criterion release of Petite Maman as an extra. Deserves a full release, I would say, but nice. And actually, one thing I can show that I have that's new, I can kind of wrestle it out of its backing card here with one hand. It is the 4K release of Seven Samurai from BFI. And Criterion have released their own, and I'm going to do a whole video on this, but it's very interesting to see the transfer for this, the BFI 4K, because it kind of feels like BFI had been more reliable in terms of the transfers for Kurosawa films on Blu-ray, but it seems like Criterion have got the better one on their hands. And then the Toho one is like the worst of all of them, so it feels like they've done a 4K restoration, and then Toho in Japan for the 4K disc have done like further work on it, like DNR and stuff, and then the Criterion one doesn't have it, but then the BFI has other elements that look better, and it's like a real kind of just give me one release. But yeah, Criterion delving into 4K is quite exciting. I felt like it was years of people waiting if they would ever do it, and now it seems like every month there's like a whole slew of new 4K upgrades, which is it's great. Again, nothing I can afford on any kind of regular basis, but it's nice to know they're out there. And for certain titles, it's definitely something that is way preferable. So I have 3 minutes left. Put my glass down. Another recent one I actually grabbed. I was so happy to get this one. There was a really nice Criterion sale in the UK last year, and I grabbed the Infernal Affairs trilogy. So, being a huge fan of Hong Kong cinema now, this was one I was very keen to get to. Me and Connie watched the first one, and I was kind of underwhelmed. I think I was just too tired when I watched it. Sometimes that happens. But probably preferable to The Departed. I'd need to rewatch that one as well. But sometimes you really want to watch something and you're excited and you sit down, and about an hour in you just get really sleepy, and the idea of bed becomes the overriding thing. So I think I need to give it a rewatch. But that was one where it's like it's always been quite expensive, but the sale brought it down to a really good price. Anyway, I feel like I only need to scratch the surface. There's so many other things. As I was saying with the order, I've got some of the Wes Anderson, some of the... I need to organize everything. There's some things in there that aren't even Criterion. Can you believe it? Criterions and BFIs living together, mass hysteria. Even a Eureka sneaked in there. Again, the whole collection is objectively a mess. I feel like I'm a mess at the minute. It's been a tough few months, to say the least. I don't want to harp on about it because I have some videos I've filmed. I think I'll talk about something to do with those personal things in one of them. But it is currently the 11th of February, and the last time I posted the video was the 12th of January, so I'm a bit out of sorts, and trying to get back into making videos again. I have quite a few in the can. There's a really long Scarface De Palma review filmed. There's a Swing Time review filmed. Some Blu-ray stuff. A Masters of Cinema Ultimatum update. So quite a few things. But yeah, it was a very morose Christmas, and it's been just not great lately. Not terrible either. It's just one of those. Sometimes you get in a rut. I feel like I'm in a rut. And this video was to try and shake out of the rut a little bit. Maybe it was successful, maybe it wasn't. Let me know if you enjoy this kind of video. I enjoyed doing it either way, so I might do more of it. I don't know, but there's just so many things to say about so many of these films in my Criterion collection alone, which is in and of itself a very small part of my larger collection. I mean, just looking around, I can see Indicator, Disney, just various box sets, 4Ks, the Ghibli collection, the Mubi collection, Buster Keaton collection, the whole complete John Carpenter filmography, my steelbooks, Eureka stuff, the premium collection, Arrow Video, BFI, it's just all sorts of stuff. And yeah, miscellaneous in the corner. And I now have 0 minutes left on the battery, so on the memory card itself. So this digital file will finalize in just a second. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed some of it. If you haven't, why have you been watching this long?